You are tuning in to the Roundtable, live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific.
This is the Roundtable. Protect your time at all times. As a moderator, I will go to you when it is your time to speak. While I will moderate for excessive interjections and interruptions, it is up to you to protect your time at all times. If I, as a moderator, go to you, that means it is your time to speak. If someone interrupts you, feel free to tell them it is your turn, that you are speaking. Protect it. Once everyone has given their thoughts around the roundtable, I may allow for some free discussion or debate to occur. This is the Roundtable. We know anything is possible, but we want to know what you think. If I ask for a name of one fighter, give me one name, not multiple names. If I ask what scenario you believe will happen, just give me the one you believe will happen. Do not give me multiple scenarios and don't go over every possible scenario. This is the Roundtable. All the rules and topics have been given to you. There may be some impromptu topics because that's what we do. You could be passionate, but be respectful at all times. Follow my commands at all times. Now, touch gloves, go back to your corners, and let's get this started. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. This is DStyleBoxing. I'll be joined by Maestro D. Jefferson from Speak Your Mind Sports Talk, Box Tunnel, Chief Funky, second half of HCP, and also Sondale Media. How's it going, gentlemen?
What's up, everybody?
What's up, man? How's it going, fellas?
I feel like D-Style should touch the nose. Let's get it on, you know. Shout out to Mills
Let's get it on. Was it clear enough? I don't know. It was clear enough, but check it out, guys. Just saying. By the way, hit my like button if you're listening on an archive. Obviously, and those listening live, let us know what you think in the chat. We will touch on you guys. But here's what I want to say. I think Amilcar wants to confess something. You did concede that Mexico or Mexicans are the best fans in all of boxing. So go ahead and concede that before we proceed. Go ahead.
Well, it took a little bit of creativity on my part, and it took me back to the Kosovo crisis in Yugoslavia, specifically Serbia, where Albanians were claiming a greater Albania that encompassed Greece, Macedonia, Serbia, and Albania. So I just applied the same principle to Mexico, man. I mean, my mom always told me that Texas, California, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, I could go on, are actually part of Mexico. So at the end of the day, that's Mexico. Let's go with Greater Mexico. Greater Mexico is the biggest and most important community in boxing. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right. See, there we go. Let's go ahead and get this started, guys. Let's talk about Jake Paul. Is he good? Because obviously we all saw the fight, or if you didn't watch it, you've seen the highlights. And if you saw the fight, it was a highlight. It wasn't really a much of a fight. Knocked out Ben Askren, MMA fighter, former MMA champion or whatever, top contender in the UFC, but as we all know, wasn't known for his striking, and that's not a surprise to any of us. But is Jake Paul good for boxing? Is he bad for boxing? Or does he really have no effect on boxing whatsoever? I want to know what you guys think. And let's go ahead and start with Box Tunnel making his debut to the Roundtable. Talk to us.
Yeah, what's up, man? How's it going, fellas? Thanks for having me. I'll be honest. I think that he's good for boxing. it brings a different crowd, right? And it brings more eyes. And I know like that's pretty cliche, but if you look at the undercard, they still managed to put on some traditional boxing with Red Catch and Regis, despite however that played out. But I mean, it was good for those boxers to get those type of paydays, and a lot of it had to do with the event that they were a part of. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it short and say I think it's good for boxing.
Okay. Wow. All right. That might surprise some boxing fans, but we like different opinions here. Maestro, talk to us.
Well, I'll separate it into two questions. First, is it good for boxing? I actually am going to agree with Box Tunnel. Just ask Regis Prograis. He got a six-figure payday. I'm sure he thinks it's good for him. Ivan Redcat's got a six-figure payday. I'm sure he thinks it's good for him. So fighters are getting paid. Ask Teofimo Lopez if it's a good thing. He's getting the biggest payday of his career. And I believe that George Gambrosis is like the highest paid lightweight mandatory challenger in the history of boxing. So you can thank Triller and Fight Club for that. So I'll say that much. Is he good at boxing? Absolutely not. He is not good at boxing. He has yet to fight anyone who has any semblance of an amateur career, let alone a professional career. And I would say he's fighting at the cruiserweight limit. You could go to pretty much any gym in any major city that has amateur heavyweights where the limit is 91 kilograms / 200 pounds. And he's getting bodied in these gyms. He just is. That's true in New York. That's true in El Paso. That's true in Sacramento. That's true in Ohio. And I don't know where you are from, Santiago, but that's true where you are as well.
San Diego.
Oh, that's definitely true in San Diego.
No, not San Diego. Not there.
So put him in against an amateur heavyweight. Dude's getting knocked out or he's taking a sustained beating. Ben Askren couldn't defend from the only thing that this guy's capable of doing, which is essentially throwing a counter right hand. You couldn't avoid that, dog? Like, you can train for that? I mean, come on now. You were supposed to be a mixed martial arts world champion. I mean, you should be at least be competent in striking to that extent.
All right. Well said. Amilcar Andre Rodriguez on here. Bruce Goes, the GOAT, LT, A-Rod. How you guys doing, man? Make sure you hit my like button. Let them know what you think, just like Andre right there with this comment saying, in the casual eyes, it takes a determined the level of serious. It takes the level of seriousness away from boxing. It trivializes the sport on the big sports stage. All right. D, what do you make of it, man? Good, bad, or really no effect?
Well, look, man. Get what I said. I was talking about this before, right? And this is how I see it. I think this whole thing with Triller and everything, these crossover fights and gimmick fight, YouTube fights, it's something that is bringing immediate attention. I think that it's having a positive effect as far as like an immediate effect. But this is something that's going to fade off and could potentially leave a little stain on boxing. So what will it do for the long term? And the immediate, if boxing can sustain and draw these fans that Jake Paul and these guys bring, if our fighters can draw these fans in to stay in after that shit fades off, maybe so. But I'm not sure if this is something that will sustain, all of these gimmick fights. And then you got real boxing cards. It's like either co-main events or undercards. I don't know how well that's going to work, for how long that's going to work.
All right. Chief Funky, same question to you, brother.
Man, I don't really know if I could give a straight answer to this because it is having some effect. I don't know how big it is. I mean, it is getting guys paid, but like the people have been going around saying that he's bad for boxing and stuff like that. Like, I don't even consider Jake Paul a real boxer at this point. I know he's had 3 professional fights, but he hasn't fought a professional boxer yet. Not one. So I don't even consider this dude a real boxer yet until he fights a real professional boxer. I don't care if he gets some cab driver from Tijuana. As long as a dude's been in the ring and has some experience in boxing, then I'll finally consider this guy a real boxer. But until then, I don't. He's been fighting guys, retired guys from the NBA, another YouTuber, and then he just fought a guy who's never boxed before a day in his life. You could tell the guy couldn't even throw his hands correctly, you know? So I guess it is a little bit of good impact as far as the money goes, but I'm the type of fan, I don't give a fuck about these guys, how much they get paid. You know, I mean, I want them to get paid, but I'm not one of these guys that's watching the pockets. You know, I want to make sure this guy gets paid and this guy and that. But like, look, at the end of the day, they're all going to make a ton of money doing what they do, and that's good. But I just don't care about that side of boxing. So, you know, we'll see, man. I mean, Teofimo's made a lot of money, and like Maestro said, so is Cambosis. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what the future holds, man. But I'm not going to hate on the dude for making his money. But these dudes, I mean, Jake Paul, he's just not a real boxer, man. I'm sorry. He's not to me.
Big Dog Willie, I appreciate the support, brother. Is this how you feel about Burnt Shrek? That is dealing quiet, ladies and gentlemen. Saying Andy Ruiz isn't a real Mexican. You know how I feel about Burnt Shrek. I just want y'all's opinion. That's my opinion on that. As far as he goes, because he doesn't get to decide who's Mexican and who isn't. Like some dude in England, like doesn't get to decide that. You know what I mean? So he can go off and define himself however he wants to define himself. He ain't gonna define others. But if he wants to fight, I mean, that's a fight I wouldn't mind, and I do believe that Andy Ruiz will beat his ass. To be honest with you, so that's my honest take on that. All right. I appreciate that support, brother. And Andre Rodriguez follows up. You know, what I mean is outside of this small circle made of hardcore boxing fans, the arrival of celebrities to box with all the media coverage around it trivializes, the sport. Sonteo, man, good, bad, no effect. How do you see it, man?
Good and bad. Good, just like Box Tono and Maestro said, it brings a lot of eyes to the sport. I was thinking about the topic earlier today, and I was trying to put myself in that age group for Jake Paul's fans on his YouTube, and I'm thinking of how was I when I was a teenager? What did I buy? How many magazines did I buy about the New Kids on the Block? And I'm gonna give away my age here. New Kids on the Block, Paula Abdul. My brothers and I bought all that stuff. We'd buy them at 7-Eleven. We'd buy them wherever any newsstand we could get it, and we always wanted to know. And my parents were willing to buy us tickets to go see New Kids on the Block at the Forum in Los Angeles, and we've gone to these concerts. So it's an age group that the market has huge purchasing power for. So they're focusing on Jake Paul and these YouTubers. But I think in the long run, some of these people that are introduced to boxing can become boxing fans. So I think that's the good part. The bad part that I, in my opinion, is that fights like the one that we have coming up on May 22nd don't get as much coverage as of now, and we're only 30 days away. Why don't we have this level of coverage for an undisputed fight at 140 with Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor? I get it. In order for the networks to dump a bunch of marketing dough, you got to be a star like Virgil Ortiz with 16 fights and 16 knockouts, or you got to be Edgar Berlanga, 16-0, 16 knockouts. And I know Jose Ramirez has gone 12 with Paul Stoll, and he's gone 12 with Amir Iman, and he might have gone 12 with Orozco. But this is undisputed for diehards like us that were on this panel. That should be marketed more than this Triller event that we just saw last weekend. So the good, it brings new eyes. The bad is that for us diehards, it gets more attention than the ones that we feel should be marketed a lot better.
Okay. Well said, Sonteo. And for those that, good point about, the lack of push marketing. It seems like Top Rank wants to invest like no money almost, on the fight. And we'll be talking about that on Amilcar's channel tonight on Overtime. Okay, so you guys want to make sure, you check that out on Overtime, right? Look, guys, the way I see it is this, right? I hear the whole, because I hear everything, right? And they're all great points. Well, look at the money, Progress made. And Progress himself went from fuck those dudes to like, man, you know what? Nah, they're actually not that bad. Well, that's because you got 800,000, brother. That's why you feel that way. If I'm not mistaken, out of the guarantees, he made more than even Jake Paul. I don't know if he made more after the pay-per-view, but he definitely made more out of the guarantees, and but I do agree with Andres saying in the chat. It just trivialized boxing. But are we already not covered by the mainstream media anyway? Isn't boxing already the bastard child that gets no credit anyway? All these hypocrites talking about like Stephen A. Smith's what we want to see is the best fighters, fighting, but that's what you got with Ramirez and Taylor.
Thank you.
That's what that is. Chocolatito Estrada. We do give fights where the best fight the best, right? And the media doesn't cover those fights. So the way I see it, and I think in a weird way, the fact that these YouTube celebrities are creating so much wave, and anything they do, it's not just when they box, guys. It's anything they do. They have 20 million plus subscribers. So they just chose to box and they're getting attention, right? If they chose to do MMA instead, guess what? They would be selling a lot of pay-per-views just doing MMA, against dudes that don't know MMA or something, right? So, and I don't want to hear MMA either. They had Herschel Walker at 895, fighting on Strikeforce, okay? They had CM Punk, a dude that plays the fighter, actually fighting, getting mauled in the octagon, right? At the end of the day, I never seen boxing as a gentleman's sport. I seen it as a gutter sport. And what I mean by that, it's a poor man's sport. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And everyone I don't know about the prestige of boxing. They're not giving our sport prestige anyway. So the way I see it, until this guy fights someone who's real, and by that, I don't even mean the top contender, then he's going to ride that wave, and that's the way it is. Because he could pick any other sport. He ain't going to make the money he's making right now.
Can I make one other comment? D-Style. Look, as boxing fans, we got to give boxing at least a little bit of credit. I mean, if you're coming from the perspective that this is bad for boxing, you're actually putting boxing into a category as a weak sport. It's in a weak position. And I'm just not willing to accept that. It's like the big ballers 3-on-3 that they were showing on Fox Sports. Is that bad for basketball? I never heard anyone saying that it was bad for basketball. Is the celebrity game before the All-Star game bad for basketball? No, it's not real basketball. It's celebrity basketball. We shouldn't even consider it in the same lane. Guys, forget about the Queensberry rules and the fact that modern boxing started in England. Look it up. Boxing goes back to the 3rd millennium, man, before BC. To BC. We're talking about Sumer, right? In Mesopotamia. We're talking about ancient Greece and Egypt. People were wrapping their hands and fighting each other with their hands. This is an ancient sport. This is the pinnacle of sports. This is hand-to-hand combat. And for us to say that this is going to weaken the sport of boxing, it's bro, have some historical perspective. Boxing has survived a lot of shit. It's going to survive a couple of YouTubers getting in the ring with each other.
It survived the mafia, bro. The mafia used to literally run boxing. You know what I mean? So the fact that this is going to kill it is stupid to me. Okay. It survived the Mike Tyson ear bite, which is comedic today, but a lot of angry pay-per-view buyers were not happy when that happened. Okay. I know my grandfather was one of them. Okay. He was really mad. Okay. Because it was $55 back then. Because that was a lot of money in the mid-90s. Right. And so boxing has survived a lot. And I like the point Amilcar made. Let me tell you guys something, man. Okay. This sport right here, I mean, every major empire, every great civilization has had some form of mano-a-mano, fist combat where only striking with the fist was allowed, So it is, I just believe it's a natural primal instinct of ours to enjoy the sport of boxing, which is why it can get away with anything. You know, it can get away with anything. Look at us. We're boxing simps. Like it mistreats us. It doesn't give us what we want half the time. You know what I mean? Tries to appease others instead of us. And we're the loyal ones, but it wants to go with, you know what I mean? Like, but here we are. All right? I'm just saying. With that said, guys, anyone have anything else to add before we move on to the next topic? All right. Moving on. All right. Hey, Coppinger, came out and there's reports that Logan Paul, speaking of boxing YouTubers, by the way, will be fighting Floyd Mayweather on Showtime, of all places. Supposedly they announced June 5th, although I have not seen any confirmations about that. But somewhere in June, right? If it is June 5th, it's going to be counter programming. All right. It's going to be counter programming, guys. The Teofimo Lopez fight on Triller, speaking of Triller, against Cambozas. Okay. But so they announced the fight. Coppinger comes out and he does a tweet, right? And he says in a tweet, he says, hey, this is Al Haymon. Like, he's using this pay-per-view to leverage himself and put himself in position, right, to negotiate with Showtime because he wants a great deal with Showtime because the Fox deal is about to expire with PBC, right? Danger alert. Now, this is just me, and I'm going to get you guys' take on this, but this is just me. That's like a conclusion that I myself had as soon as I heard the event was done. I could come up with that myself, right? I'm like just presupposing. And I do believe that's what Coppinger's doing. I don't believe Coppinger knows the ins and outs and he knows this for a fact. I think he's just kind of using clues and circumstantial evidence of the circumstance to come up with that conclusion. And he's just throwing out, oh, no, a source told me. And he beat Amilcar. He didn't say he's 100%. He said 1,000%. I'm going to start with D. Jefferson here. D, do you believe, well, first of all, what are your thoughts on Logan Paul fighting Mayweather on Showtime? And second, do you believe Coppinger when he says he knows for a fact that's what Al Haymon is doing?
Well, Floyd Mayweather, it's a show fighting the show. It's garbage fighting garbages. Those two belong in the ring together. Two clowns in the ring. As far as Coppinger, man, I wouldn't believe that dude as far as I can throw him. You gotta check and double check anything he say to you. If he say the sun is yellow, you better go outside and make sure it ain't blue. I don't believe anything Coppinger says.
There you go. So Dale, talk to us, brother.
I was just on Twitter.
Fight and the reporting of Coppinger, he was going back and forth with Allerby. Allerby called him a liar.
Yeah, I saw the tweets, and then just right before the show, I saw Steven Espinoza give a 1-minute interview they had, and he kind of debunked everything. And then Coppinger goes back at him and says that, I've been breaking every big story for the past so many years and this and this and that. And I had 2 sources and XYZ. But I'm not excited about the fight. For so many years, boxing revolved around that one name, and he had to. So many people were on hold in order to hold fights because they were waiting for his date to be released and what network and all that. So I've kind of been happy that he's been gone, not having to do with anything with his skills inside the ring. But yeah, I'm indifferent.
All right. What do you think of the fight? Are you pumped, T-Funky? Are you pumped for the fight? And what do you make about Coppinger? Do you believe Coppinger? What does your instinct tell you?
Look at my face. This look like a face of a guy who's pumped up for this fight.
He's excited.
Hell no. This fight is pure 100% dumpster juice. All right? I don't want nothing to do with it. I hate it. I mean, this guy calls himself TBE, the best ever, and this is who you come back to fight? Some guy who's never even won. They put him in the ring with another YouTuber and he lost. I mean, am I right or wrong? Has he not won a fight yet as a professional?
Got
And
robbed.
this
He
is
got
the
robbed.
guy.
Got robbed. Got robbed.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot he got robbed. This is the guy you come back to fight. Like, this is a complete joke, man. And it does nothing but make him money and make his fanboys happy. I know there's a bunch of Mayweather fanboys still out there, so they can go ahead and get their rocks off on this one. I'm not going to do it. I'm not buying that junk. And as far as Coppinger, yeah, I agree with D. Can't really trust a lot of these guys and what they say until it's actually made official. So that's really all I got to say, man. I'm tired of these weird fights, man.
All right. Box Tunnel. Talk to us. What do you make of the fight and the reporting?
Yeah, so regarding the reporting, even when I'm running like my boxing page, I don't post anything, and so that promotion company drops it. Once they say it's official, then it's official. So that's my standards on everything. I go straight to the source. Cut the middleman out. Yeah, sometimes the middleman is right, but I don't want to be left hanging dry because I went off something other than the main source. So that's his aside. Regarding the Floyd Mayweather fight, I want to say that let's just say that it is a cross promotion. On that day, June 5th, boxing fans have a responsibility to. All right, you say you want to keep this sport a purist sport. You want to stick to the principles and the pillars that make it. Okay, we're going to see. We have the opportunity. Here we have a mandatory fight, however you feel about it. It's still a regular fight. It's still a real fight, sanctioned and, wins a purse bid and everything. And then you have the Floyd fight. Let's see, what is it really that drives boxing fans? Is it the spectacle that comes with the entertainment? Which if that's your mantra, that's your motto, that's fine, that's on you. Or is it, do you really want to see the best fighting the best? I know many people aren't going to say that Kambosos is the best, right? But it's a much more competitive match, I personally believe, than Floyd and Paul. So I think that boxing as a whole has a responsibility. This is our chance. However you feel about it, I'll be honest. I'll probably be tuned into both because I like both aspects of it. I'll be honest though. I'm gonna be more focused on the Teofimo fight. But that's just how I feel about it. It's like boxing has a responsibility on that day if they are cross promoted that same day. We're gonna see what really pays the bills. Is it the real fights or is it the entertainment? And then you can't go back and forth about it because the numbers will speak. So I personally, I'm only watching the Floyd fight because, I know that there's some people in my demographic that do like that. So I want to cover it and have some basis. I don't want to be completely biased to only what I think and not look at everything else because then that's just going to give me a biased standpoint. But when it comes to those two, I'm more excited to see Teofimo, but I definitely will be watching the Floyd.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry,
shout out to Tracy Boxer Girl, Andre Rodriguez, No Pa Boxianos, Run PMC, Bruscos. We're worldwide, ladies and gentlemen. We got London combo of the day. Hello from London, he says. Isaac on here. Jono Yanez, great comments, guys. We're definitely looking at them. And we appreciate them. You can look at them on the screen, of course. But I know Milcar can't wait to go. So go ahead and turn the engine, brother, and press on the gas pedal. Talk to us.
Well, I'm trying to remember the question. I don't know if it's whether I like this fight or I don't.
So first of all, what's your thought on the actual fight?
Yeah,
right? That's one. Right. Second, what do you make of Coppinger making the claim that this is Al Haymon? Al Haymon's doing to leverage himself and get a great deal with Showtime.
Copy that. So let's start with the last one first, D-Style. Like you said, even the idea of this going to Showtime makes someone think that. And the reason they think that is because that already happened in the past. Mayweather fights on Showtime were essentially being used to leverage Showtime to put on other PBC fights on that network. That's fact. That happened. So this is likely the case with this fight too. But what I think is important to mention is that Showtime wouldn't do this. CBS Viacom wouldn't do this if they didn't think that it would pan out in their favor in the balance sheet, in the plus minus at the end. So I understand why Al would do it. I understand why Showtime would consider it. Is this a good fight? G Funky said it perfectly, man. This guy is 0-1 as a professional boxer. How the fuck do you call yourself the GOAT and you're taking on a guy who lost to a YouTuber in his only professional fight? Seriously? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, how is that? How are people just not shaming this dude, like roasting this dude for that? You're the GOAT, but you're taking on an 0-1 fighter who lost to a gamer.
He's bigger though.
Video game
size difference. You know what I mean?
Juice, bro.
Size difference. Size difference.
I remember De La Hoya beating up Shaq. That was a much bigger size difference. And Shaq is actually an elite athlete. So I mean, I'm not like, what the hell is this?
So what I'm gathering here is that D and Maestro really hate this fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm gathering.
I mean, you know what? The only way I would watch this fight is if they're wearing MMA gloves and it's like no holds barred. Okay. Then I'm watching.
Hell in the Cell? Hell in the Cell?
Hell in the Cell.
Hell in the Cell.
Hell.
But boxing?
Buried alive match, all right?
Buried alive, man. We don't have to see the loser anymore. You know what I mean? Ever. You know, they got to go. They got to disappear. You know, like here's what I'll say, man. I mean, I get it. Like Showtime, I get it. You're gonna make money off of this, but man, does this look desperate? Like it just does. Like it really gives off a desperate vibe. But do you think this is Al Haymon though? Like, is he pulling the strings? Is he trying to get a better deal from Showtime? And do you really think a fight with Logan Paul Mayweather is going to work, Maestro?
Well, I mean, how are they going to describe this? Is it going to be Showtime Championship Boxing? I hope not.
Oh yeah, it's Championship Boxing, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they want to put this on to make some money, I guess that's what they're going to do. I've been singing the praises of Showtime recently because I don't even watch MMA that seriously. I used to when I was in college, but I've been very happy with their Bellator tournament. It's been pretty entertaining, and I've had a good time watching it on Friday nights. So I've been giving them praise, but now I kind of got to take some of it back because anyone who's putting on sports should not be putting this on. Put this on Triller. Put this on some other platform. But I'm going to kind of agree with Andre real quick because Andre was talking about how these kind of things are bad for boxing. I would say that if you present this as championship boxing, Showtime Sports Boxing, then yeah, that is a bad look for boxing. It should not be on this. It should not be presented that way.
Man, tell me how you really feel, you know? Hey, but I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. You know, but here's what I want to say. I'm not buying Coppinger, bro. Like, I'm not buying what he's selling. Because by definition, Al Haymon's going to, quote unquote, leverage anything he has in a negotiation with Showtime. Like, well, what does that even mean? Like, you could say that about anything. You know, so if can he use the fact that, hey, well, you know, what about this Mayweather fight? I guess, but I just don't think like he has like a source that specifically told him, oh no, like bro, Al Haymon told me that he's gonna do this because of this. I just don't believe him. I don't. Like, I just think he came up with this conclusion the same way anybody else would, to be honest with you. Jay Garcia, how you doing? 92 AKU boxing is the circus right now. What the fuck? The biggest pay-per-view in the last 12 months will involve Jake Paul and Logan Paul and Mike Tyson in 2021. Man, well, it is what it is, guys. I don't know what you want me to tell you. What do you want me to say? You know what I mean? But does that mean that boxing in the shitter, though? Does it really mean that?
No.
Because the highest rated shows are shows like Dancing with the Stars and shit like that. They do higher ratings than like most shit on TV. Like, what does that even mean? Does that mean that professional dancers are a joke now because Dancing with the Stars is a popular show?
Yeah, no. I mean, I live by Yankee Stadium, as you know, D-Style, and they have Legends games where like the old timers play baseball. Like, is that bad for baseball? No, it's not bad for baseball because no one's considering that professional baseball. As it relates to Coppinger, he did the same thing, though, D-Style, with another big story that came out this week, courtesy of him, where he made claims that Eddie Hearn is moving from Sky Sports over to DAZN. But guess what? Put 1 + 1, it kind of equals 2. I mean, the contract is up at the end of June. It really doesn't take that much rocket science to figure out that Eddie's going to go over to the network that's been paying Eddie. Like, it's like it's always been presented as kind of
let me say this. It's kind of like when I told people, look, the franchise belt is going to be transferable at some point, right? That's what I told people. Now, it's one thing if I say that because I'm kind of like looking at the pattern of the sanctioning bodies and what they did with the super belt, right? But it's another thing if I came on YouTube and I said, no, my source told me it's going to be transferable. Like somebody in the WBC told me that because that's not true. Nobody told me that. But a lot of reporters say things like that, and then when it's kind of like an educated guess, and when it turns out to be right, they use that as some sort of like, see, I was right, and I think they're full of shit. Hey, JC, man, I appreciate that. It's a sick panel. Well, there you go, panel. He's saying we're a great panel. Like, think about everybody. Boxing Wave on here.
Appreciate that, JC.
Tonight. Yeah, most definitely, for sure. Boxing Wave says, but I'm still tuning in. Chat with you soon. Absolutely, man. We look forward to having Boxing Wave and some future roundtable for sure. Subscribe to Boxing Wave. I definitely appreciate his support there for sure. Shout out to Tracy Ande Rodriguez on here, 92AQ. Even though you're a contrarian, but I like that. I don't want the same opinions. I don't want everybody agreeing with me all the time. You know what I mean? With that said, a quick yes or no. And if you want to pass, you say pass. But Sonteo, is Coppinger, do you believe he's telling the truth when he says it's 1,000% true about Al Haymon using this as leverage?
Pass.
Chief Funky.
Pass.
All right, Box Tunnel.
Oh, man, a pass.
Wow. Maestro?
I think it's true, but I don't necessarily think that this is like I mean, guys, this isn't the Snowden release of what like you know what I mean?
Okay, so the answer is yes, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean, let me put it this: he's guessing right.
Okay, all right. D, how do you feel about it, real quick?
Hell no. I think there's holes in what he's saying. There's holes in it like Swiss cheese. I question everything that comes from
a real
Coppinger.
answer.
Hell no, I don't believe
That's what I'm talking about right there. I'm talking about. All right. I'm going to second that. Hell no. Okay. I think he's capping, and I think he came. And I agree with you, Milcar. I feel the same way about it. I just think he's guessing right. You know what I mean? But hey, Joe Lopez 40 ounce. How you doing, brother? How you doing? Let's talk about, you mentioned him, Milcar. So I'm going to go to you first, brother. Talk to us about Oscar De La Hoya, the one champion CEO that is an MMA organization, obviously not as big as the UFC, but they're out there. He came out and said that a fight with Eddie Alvarez, former UFC lightweight champion, and Oscar De La Hoya is definitely a possibility. So first of all, do you like that fight? And if not, who would you rather see De La Hoya fight, if at all?
Well, I'm going to play the role right now of one of Oscar's fighters. Bro, what the fuck are you doing? Are you promoting me or are you promoting yourself? Do you care about my career or do you just care about yourself and being on TV, getting drunk and making a fool of yourself? Because if I'm one of his fighters, if I'm Virgil Ortiz and I'm Ryan Garcia and I'm seeing him act the fool like this, bro, I'm going to court and I'm relieving myself of his contract and I'm moving somewhere else. Because if this is my promoter, he's not doing his fucking job. So if you want to be a boxer, be a boxer. But you don't see Eddie Hearn out there getting into celebrity boxing or challenging MMA guys or challenging other promoters to fights. Eddie Hearn is working the job of being a promoter. All I see him doing is giving interviews to YouTube channels and like new shit's coming out of Eddie Hearn's mouth every day pretty much on YouTube because he's doing the tour, he's doing his job, he's promoting his fighters. When's the last time you seen Oscar do that? Oscar needs to read off a cheat sheet to discuss the fights of his major guys. He's reading off a sheet to talk about a Ryan Garcia fight or to talk about a Virgil Ortiz fight. Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn is just rifling off stats and figures and names of the lowest undercard fights on his card and talking about the backstories of these fighters. It's promotional malpractice, dog. Like, how are you calling yourself a promoter and engaging in this? So is one championship a legitimate MMA promotion? Absolutely. Is Bellator a legitimate MMA promotion? Absolutely. In certain weight classes, these two organizations actually have top 3 fighters as ranked by independent, bodies or whatnot. But should I care about Oscar fighting one of these dudes? No, he's almost 50 years old. Like, dog, you keep saying you started Golden Boy Promotions for the fighters. Oh, I know what it was like to be a fighter, and I wasn't promoted the right way, and I started this to give back to boxing and give back to the fighters. Well, then why the hell are you getting into these exhibition fights and getting drunk at these events and not doing your job as a promoter?
Man, Maestro's fired up today. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm agreeing with him too. It's the crazy part. I don't know. Are you a milk card for real? No, but I will say this though. Like, all bullshit aside, to answer your question, why is he doing it? Because he lost Canelo, brother. Like, he's trying to bring in money for his company, but it's really counterproductive because why would you go to Triller when you have a contract with the Zone that you don't even know if they're going to renew? You would think oh, let me leverage myself and get a new deal with the Zone by fighting on the Zone. Jesus Christ, bro. That's my thought on it. But hey, talk to us, D. Well, what do you make about a potential fight with De La Hoya and Eddie Alvarez? Do you care? And if not, would you rather see him fight, if anybody?
I don't care. I would rather not see him fight, to tell you the truth. I don't really care who it is. I don't care about him fighting Eddie Alvarez. I don't really care about these crossover fights, man. I think either guy that steps into the other guy's zone, steps into the other guy's discipline is at an extreme disadvantage. And if these boxers step in their cage, they're at an extreme disadvantage and vice versa. So I'm not really into these gimmick fights, bro. As far as Oscar De La Hoya and that, I mean, like you said, he lost Canelo, but look, bro, he need money. I mean, he's got a name just like Tyson and Roy and all of these guys. Oscar De La Hoya has a big freaking name in boxing. So he's utilizing what he got. Make some money, With Canelo gone, it's not like business is booming, right? So
right.
Getting some money. So I don't blame him for that, for using his name. Look, Floyd is living on his name. So, I mean, what can you say? I can't really say anything about that. But as far as an interest level in any of his fights, hell no, bro. I don't even care.
There we go. Well, I'm echoing the same sentiments, but let's see what do you think, Box Tunnel? Talk to us.
Man, so I want to say this, like, what if you kind of piggybacking on what you said about, using it as leverage to get on the Zone? What if, in counterpart, he's working with Triller to show the Zone, like the possibilities to work with an outsource another place is definitely a possibility because, you mentioned that Oscar doesn't have Canelo anymore. So let's look at who he does have, minus Sudigo, right? So he has Ryan Garcia, which if you think about it, Ryan Garcia and the Triller community, that Triller audience, they're around that same demographic, that same area. Virgil Ortiz is under 25. So his audience is probably going to be around that same area, that same age group that does tune into the Triller fights. Obviously, he has other people. He has the women boxers and everyone else. But those right now seem to be the most prosperous, or the ones that have the most. They're going to have the most output as of right now, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm not really I'm not really concerned with the fight. I want to see if he could use that to help his up and coming fighters. If he does this on a stance where he's going to bring a bunch of prospects out and put them on his undercard, and he's going to be the main event, I can see how that's going to be beneficial to his company as a whole. If he's just kind of collecting this for an Oscar paycheck, then I guess, that's really on him. But I'm not necessarily excited to see him fight Eddie Alvarez. But I mean, like I said, man, you guys are probably gonna hate me. I'm going against the grain, but I'm an entertainment buff, man, and I see it because I know that how these things are gonna play out in the boxing realm. Because if let's just say Oscar does do this, and he does bring on his other prospects to come up, it could be a way that the way we see prospects moving forward, because it's low pay and big output for the amount of eyes.
I hear you, brother. Well said, brother. Well said. Well said. You know what I mean? All right. Hey, Sonteo, talk to us, brother.
You guys mentioned the most important part is that Canelo's gone, and the lawsuit between Al Haymon and Oscar, that was revealed. It was revealed in the accounting for Golden Boy that 100% of their profits were from Canelo fights. So that lets you know that Ryan, Virgil, Jojo Diaz, Munguia, all those guys were running in the red 5 years ago when this lawsuit happened. And yeah, he's come a long way, but Canelo being gone is like that. Like to me, they're in emergency mode. They're in crisis mode. So he has to keep his name in the lights. Yeah, I don't agree that he got on TV smashed, but I'm from Southern California. I've been in East LA many times. My grandparents lived in Lincoln Heights, right next to East LA. I've seen what Oscar's done for the community. I know he's given tons of money to White Memorial Hospital. I know he has a charter high school in the area. He has tons of money coming from different places. I don't think he's doing it for money. I agree with Box Tunnel. If he's going to bring some of his prospects, now I don't think Ryan, Virgil, and those guys are prospects anymore. Those guys are headlining their own shows. But if he has some guys that are 10-0, and he's trying to get them on big shows and get their names out there, then I'm all for it. Just like I'm all for Floyd Mayweather putting on some of his prospects with Leonard Ellerby if he was to do this on June 5th or whatever the date is.
I don't think though, Sonteo, because they're signed to Golden Boy and Golden Boy has a deal with DAZN. That's what's confusing about this. All this shit is taking place on Triller. It just shows you he doesn't care about his fighters. His fighters can't go to Triller because they have deals with DAZN. So he's just doing this for himself. Look, I was saying this in the chat. I got no problems with Oscar's moves, right? But I'm just saying, if I was his fighter, I'd be furious. And sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. He's been okay. He's been more active since Canelo left in terms of marketing, in terms of strategically putting Virgil in Texas, in terms of getting him in the right market for his fights, in terms of putting. I remember Ryan Garcia was in Anaheim on Valentine's Day. We have seen some key changes in their marketing strategies. So I can't shit on him completely. And it is what it is.
DStyle, you're on mute, bro.
Hey, the GOAT said that he is excited, bro. He is excited to see Oscar De La Hoya. Do you hear me? He's like, he don't want to hear no slander about De La Hoya whatsoever. You know what I mean? Even if it's the truth, you will not speak about it. Like, nah, we're going to speak about it. I will say, though, I don't know if he was drugged. Like, I went back and watched it. He was probably drunk. I don't know if he was drugged, though. People were saying he was on coke, and I know we can all presuppose that. Maybe he was. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think he was drunk, calling, USSR to Cunningham a veteran. So it is what it is. But, hey, Chief Funky, talk to us, brother. What do you make Oscar De La Hoya against Eddie Alvarez, bro? Boxing versus MMA in a boxing fight. You know what I mean? Well, what do you make about it? You know, are you excited?
No, I don't like it. I don't like these guys. If these guys are going to come back, I want them to fight a boxer. You know, like I wasn't in favor of the Mayweather thing. Although I did buy that fight when he fought McGregor. I had a bunch of people interested. They came over. They pretty much paid for the fight. All I did was host it. Depending on where the pandemic is, by the time this one happens, the same might happen for me here. But you know, if I'm just chilling at home by myself, I'm not gonna buy this thing. It's not gonna be competitive. I don't think Oscar's gonna go out there and carry this guy the way that Mayweather carried McGregor. You know, Oscar, I don't think he has that kind of mentality. I think he'll go out there and try to destroy this guy, and he will. You know, we seen him still. This guy can still throw punches. He's still fast. Obviously, he's not the same guy he was, 20 years ago, but he's far more skilled as far as boxing goes than any MMA fighter. I don't give a damn who they are. So it's not going to be competitive. He's doing it for the money, just like Floyd. I agree with D. Floyd's using his name to make money. Oscar can do the same. Oscar was the big draw before Mayweather. So he can still make a lot of bread just putting his name out there on something. The only way I'll be in favor of him coming back, and this is a dream of mine. It's always been a dream of mine for over 20 years now because he's been ducking that smoke for that long. He needs to get back in there with my boy Tito Trinidad, all right? He needs to get back in there and get his ass whooped again, all right? That's all I got to say. If you don't come back and fight Tito, I don't want to see it.
Hey, yo, this is the 28th edition of the Roundtable. We just heard some blasphemy from G-Funky right there. I don't know what G-Funky's even talking about, that he's been ducking the smoke. Well, what are you talking about, bro? Ain't nobody want to see an old Tito Trinidad get knocked out. He could stay his ass home, bro. I don't even think Tito could beat Eddie Alvarez right now.
Oscar's too old to run around the ring now, man. He's gonna get smoked this time.
Have you seen? Like, this guy has a freaking big ass stomach now, bro. Like, the lawyer has a 6-pack, bro. Are you kidding me? Ain't nobody want to see that shit.
Tito looked pregnant, man. He looked like he was child.
Yeah, he's eating those tacos de pollo and shit. You know what I mean? Is what he's doing.
Arroz con pollo. That's what they eat down there, man.
Caldo de pollo. Remember, he was bragging about that, But I don't know. If he pounds his chest one more time, I think he gets a heart attack, brother. I don't think he belongs in the ring, to be honest with you. But if he wants to get knocked out, if he wants to get that smoke,
hey, okay, chest compressions, bro. Keeps him alive,
There you go.
He's got that Afro-Caribbean diet. It's not always the healthiest.
Oh, well, there you go.
Especially maintaining your slim figure.
But check it out. Check it out, though. I don't think I'm interested in seeing the lawyer fight Eddie Alvarez at all. To be honest, why not Cotto is what I'm asking myself. I think that would have been a more intriguing fight, personally. But hey, we'll see who he does fight, though. Maybe it will be Trinidad. Maybe I know Vargas is calling him out. I think that's a better fight. But on the Vargas, he said he's getting in shape and he wants to do a number 2 with Bad Blood number 2. So that's that. Hey, we got Montiel for a couple more minutes here. All right. And I'm going to get your thoughts on Navarrete Diaz, Montiel. But before we do that, though, if you guys haven't noticed that there is a link in the chat, okay, you guys could click on that. It's the pinned one right there. So, man, anything helps, man. Even if it's $1, man, $5, anything you can, give here to Gonzalo's son, Mateo, right? And he was born in the Philippines. He's fighting for his life right now. A lot of generous people have given a donation. So anybody listening to this, I hope, you find it in your heart to give, whatever you can, of course. You know what I mean? So, our thoughts are definitely with, the family and with little Mateo there, man. He's a fighter fighting for his life, and God bless him. So shout out to them, of course. Navarrete Diaz, Montiel, talk to us, brother.
I still can't get over that Navarrete fight with Ruben Villa. Man, he just throws punches from awkward angles. I still look at that fight sometimes and see how he hits that uppercut from he broke in between both his hands and it dropped him. It dropped him like the dude had metal in his hands. So I'm still under that impression from Navarrete that that he's super skilled, throws from awkward angles that's going to give anybody problems. I have to be honest, I have not seen Diaz fights. I'm going to jump on YouTube and try to do some research on him before I make a prediction. But man, that Navarrete kid went through Ruben Villa, and Ruben Villa is a very decorated amateur. He was undefeated. He had done very well at his weight class. So I'm kind of on Navarrete until I do a little bit more research on Diaz to see what I can find out about him.
Well said, brother. Well said, brother. All right. Let's go ahead and go to D. Jefferson, man. Talk to us. You know, how do you see this fight playing out, brother? Saturday.
Santel, you got the right pick, man. Navarrete is gonna, do his thing. That dude's a beast. I don't really think, look, I'm big on Navarrete, so maybe it's a little bit of bias here. But I agree with Santel on Ruben Villa because I thought Ruben Villa was going to do better. I picked Navarrete to win that fight, but I didn't know he was going to do it like that. I don't think Christopher Diaz. I don't think he got any work for Emmanuel Navarrete, man. I don't think he got work for Emmanuel. I think that's an easy pick for me. Navarrete all day.
Navarrete all day, easy pickings. Maestro, do you second that, or how do you see this one going, brother? Can't hear you, brother.
Sorry, I was saying that I third that. I think I'm the third person that's going to go with Navarrete. Look, I said this about him earlier on Monday on Leaving in the Ring. I was saying that he comes from that kind of tradition of volume punching, endurance, great stamina, Mexican fighters that really don't tire out. I mean, there's a tradition where he's from. I mean, he's from the Estado de Mexico, which is high altitude. These people have cardio for days, and there's also a long tradition, historical tradition of like endurance running that goes back to like the Native American traditions of that stuff in Mexico, like ultra marathon type things. He could be that because he can volume punch for days. And Christopher Diaz is not a guy that throws a lot of punches. He kind of works behind the jab. And what I've noticed about him in his fights is he kind of keeps his hands low too. Not really a good combination as it relates to a volume punching worker like Navarrete that carries power in both hands. I think this is going to be a very exciting fight. And along with the Berlanga fight, it's going to be a question of when.
Well said. Well said. Hey, Santel, man, I know you got to get going, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We definitely thank you for coming on, brother.
Órale, Santel.
Everybody subscribe to Santel Media. And we're also being
joined by Santel.
Thank you. Catch you on the next one.
We're being joined by a pro boxer, Flaca over here. Maria Espinosa, how you doing?
How are you? Long time no see, guys.
Hey, Flaquita, how you doing?
Yeah, well, I had some health issues. I lost 2 fight dates, but I'm back. Finally.
There you go. Well, all that matters is that you're back. You know what I mean? So, and 408, man, thanks for coming on, brother, from the Shoe Shine. Everybody tune into that show every Monday. Let's go ahead and go to Chief Funky here, man. Talk to us about Navarrete, Diaz, and how do you see this fight?
Man, let me tell you, all right. I want to say something, man. Santel touched on some good stuff, man. I did pick Ruben Villa to beat Navarrete in the last fight. I felt like he definitely had the skills, the hand speed, the defensive ability to win that fight. Turns out I was wrong. Although I think that fight was closer than most people think. Although El Vaquero got the 2 knockdowns, so he's got 2 extra points there. That was a difference on my card, but he's so unorthodox in what he does. You know, I don't know how you really prepare for a guy who throws punches like that. I mean, he knocked him down, I believe it was in the second round, with a lead right uppercut, like underneath the guard. Like, it was just the strangest punch. You never expect that punch to come right out of a guy like that, and he lands it. You know, I've always said this about him too. He's very wiry, long arms. Like, for what it is about those guys, I don't know. They got power. You know, like one of my favorite fighters, Tito Trinidad, skinny, wiry arms, but he had this power that just came out of nowhere. You know, something about those guys with those wiry arms. So my thing is this with Navarrete. Until I see somebody go in there and beat this guy, like, I'm not going to pick against him anymore, man. He's just too unorthodox, man, and it's so hard. Although when I look at his opponent Saturday, he looks skilled. You know, he looks like he's got good hand speed, throws some good combinations. But I can't go against this guy, man. He's made me look bad a couple times, and like I said, I don't know how you prepare for this guy. So I'm rolling with him, man. I think the pressure's going to get to him. And, you know, we know there's a saying that we say around here, pressure busts pipes. And I think that's going to happen here again Saturday night.
Well said. Well said. I do agree. I think that he will succumb to the pressure, because that's what everyone does when they fight Navarrete. Now, Diaz did, and I did see the Shakur Stevenson fight, but that's a completely different style to Navarrete, right? It's going to be interesting to see how we can deal with Navarrete compared to Stevenson. You know, Navarrete isn't coming to, you know, outbox you points wise. That's just not what he's doing. You know, he's going to come like a wave, like a tsunami, and I think that's what's going to, you know, do it. Afro Rican G in the building. How you doing, brother? I appreciate that. I'm picking Diaz for the upset with that Puerto Rico flag. Well, there you go. All right. Hey, Flaca, talk to us. How do you feel about this Navarrete fight with Diaz?
Well, I do think that Navarrete has this awkward style, like G Funky says. You know, when you think about a tall boxer, what you're expecting is him using the jab and maybe a little more elegant boxing style, because, you know, who controls the distance usually controls the fight. But Navarrete suddenly comes from nowhere. He doesn't even, you know, use the full length of his arms. He just do like this, the you know, the curve punches, and, you know, not using like the straight punches right away. And I think that's gonna mess up with Diaz. We know Diaz has just lost with Stevenson, which is, you know, a great boxer, and with the Masayuki Ito. But I think that Navarrete has like the awkward style, has the Mexican style, and the cojones to win this fight, you know?
Yeah, well, even in English, you know what cojones mean.
I didn't want to say huevos, but okay, cojones then.
Yeah, the cojones. I hear people say that all the time. Hey, Box Tunnel, talk to us, man. How do you see this fight? I think you're muted, brother. Yeah, you're muted.
You're on mute, brother.
Sorry, my bad. So I agree with what everyone said. I would say with any fighter that is unorthodox or that's pressures. It's hard to fight them and to get your style of fight. So the only way I see Diaz beating him is if he can somehow manipulate the ring to his advantage, and he does figure out how to get his style into it. But if he just comes without any type of game plan or without any real type of mechanics behind how he's stepping in the ring, I would say like a good example is like Valdez and Berchet. Like Valdez was calculated. He was extremely calculated. He knew where he wanted to go, but he knew why. So that's the only way I see this going any other way than Navarrete winning. I don't know how early or how late. I mean, I feel like if he can manage to figure it out, it does go the distance. If not, I still see it ending before like the 10th.
Okay.
But he can mess up with what you're saying. I think it's a great strategy to circle around the ring for Diaz and getting away from the punches. But we all agree that Navarrete is a pressure fighter. Is going to cut the ring, and he has power, and that's what makes this fight like exciting. But at the same time, we think we all like. Go a little bit more for the Navarrete win,
He's got power and he's got great endurance. And
cojones.
Cojones, you know what I mean? He's bringing the cojones.
I used to be a big fan of Ponce de Leon, who
yes,
who also like was Native American, indigenous guy, endurance guy, and handed Broner what should have been his first loss. I thought he beat Broner. And Navarrete actually has some more facets to his game in terms of boxing skills.
He's also faster than Ponce.
Yeah, faster as well. So it's like that 3.0, and I'm just a huge fan of it.
Hey, a 408, brother, talk to us, Navarrete.
Hey, first of all, thank you for having me, D-Styles. Yeah, Navarrete. The Berchelt fight that...
Got the upset or no upset?
I don't got the upset. No, I don't see Christopher Diaz being able to control the tempo, and that's the most important thing when you face Navarrete. Someone that we were so high on here in the Bay Area, the Salinas fighter that G-Funky just mentioned, he had beaten Shakur Stevenson twice in the amateurs, and he was not able to control the tempo of that fight. And I thought he would have come much closer if he had been able to get Navarrete off his game, but... unless we see something like the Berchelt performance we just saw where the guy looked nothing like what we're used to, I see Navarrete ending this under 10 rounds as well.
Okay. All right. I do agree, man. I think he will succumb to the pressure, and I do believe that Navarrete will have his arms raised by the end of that fight. Now, I'm hoping it's a great fight, by the way, because I'm always in for a great fight. And is it possible... Is it possible that Navarrete could underestimate him, or fight down to his level of opposition, and it could become a tough fight for him? You never know. That's why we tune in, But no, I don't think that's going to happen now.
I thought that was going to be the case against Villa, to be honest with you, because he was nobody really knew who this guy was. He kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, but we saw what happened.
I agree. All right, guys, we're going to be back after this with the next topic.
This is the Roundtable. Protect your time at all times. As a moderator, I will go to you when it is your time to speak. While I will moderate for excessive interjections and interruptions, it is up to you to protect your time at all times. If I, as a moderator, go to you, that means it is your time to speak. If someone interrupts you, feel free to tell them it is your turn, that you are speaking. Protect it. Once everyone has given their thoughts around the roundtable, I may allow for some free discussion or debate to occur. This is the round table. We know anything is possible, but we want to know what you think. If I ask for a name of one fighter, give me one name, not multiple names. If I ask what scenario you believe will happen, just give me the one you believe will happen. Do not give me multiple scenarios and don't go over every possible scenario. This is the round table. All the rules and topics have been given to you. There may be some impromptu topics because that's what we do. You could be passionate, but be respectful at all times. Follow my commands at all times. Now, touch gloves. Go back to your corners, and let's get this started.
There you go. All right. Anyway, everybody get its round table, right? All right. Hey, guys, I have to get my drink of water, so might as well, right? Hey, Showtime. It is Showtime. Now, I know Flacca really wanted to talk about the YouTubers, but she didn't make, you know what I mean? Like,
No,
so we're not going to
no.
go back to that, Flacca. You know what I mean?
No.
You know what I mean? But I do want to start with you, though. I want to ask you this. Showtime, they released their schedule. How do you rate the schedule from a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing. How do you rate it? Scale 1 to 10.
I think it's a 7. Too many fights, but I just want to see 2 of them, which are Figueroa versus Neri and Charlo versus Castaño. That's it. That's what I'm gonna watch them all, of course, because I love to see the undercards, and we have a lot of fights on the undercards that are worth it. Like, for example, Berlanga, I'm entertained about him, and I'm wondering in which round he will knock. That's Showtime, Berlanga, right?
No, it's ESPN.
Yeah,
Oh,
top ring.
I didn't say anything. So Charlo Castaño and Neri Figueroa. That's all I want to see.
Okay. All right. Hey, sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So that's a 7. All right. Box Tunnel, talk to us. How do you rate it? Scale of 1 to 10, and why?
Man, I'm gonna say 8.5. I feel like 2021 is kind of hard for promotion companies to top the fights that we've been seeing. I feel like any other year, this is like a 9. But I feel like considering the 2021 and the fights that we have seen, the fights that are scheduled, I would have to give it an 8.5.
Okay. All right. Hey, Chief Funky, talk to us. What are you rated and why?
5.
A 5. Are you giving me a high 5, or are you rating it a 5?
What are they? But no, man. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. More fights, the merrier, right? Like, if there's boxing on, I'm going to watch it. I don't care who it is most of the time. But a lot of these matchups are just not good. I think people are overdoing it with some of the matchups. I agree with Flacca. I think the best matchup out of all of them is Charlo Castaño. That's for undisputed. And I think it's a good fight, man. I think that Castaño is a live dog in that fight. We can't just rule him out. You know, I think he's got a real good shot at winning that fight.
Nordino Valley and Donaire. That's a great fight.
Yeah, that's a decent fight too. I like the Figueroa, Neri, and then the winner gets Fulton in the fall. Great matchup there. And last but not least, I got to give my man Guillermo El Chacal Rigondeaux some credit, man. He's back. I love Rigo. I love watching him fight. And I think he's going to pull the upset, man. So, Tank Davis, Mario Barrios, dumpster juice. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
don't like
we
the fight.
know what was.
Well, nothing to do with that fight. Nobody wants to see that fight. Nobody was calling for that fight. He's ducking everybody at 135, and I don't give a damn who doesn't like it. You don't like it, you come see me about it, all right? But that's really it, man. And the Charlo fight, Montiel, dumpster juice as well. Get out of here with that.
Ooh, man. Chicano Prophet calling him the cowardly lion in the chat. That's kind of rough, bro. Hey, Maestro. I mean, you're a teacher. You could. I'll give you the option. Give it a grade or rate it 1 to 10, however you want.
I'll rate it, but I just gotta let everybody know I'm repping for Greater Mexico tonight. So,
Pumas.
all right, that's the greatest university in the world. I studied there, so I rep that hard. All right, but I give this a 9 out of 10, and the reason I subtracted a 1 out of 10 is because the Mario Barrios Gervonta Davis fight is on pay-per-view. I'm sorry, that's not a pay-per-view fight. It should be on regular Showtime. If that was on regular Showtime, I would have given this a 10 out of 10. I really like this schedule. I mean, they're all pretty good fights.
Are you okay with Gamboa? Gamboa Colbert?
That, you know what? The reason I'm not subtracting from that is, again, it's on regular Showtime, and it's a showcase fight. It's not a competitive fight. I don't think Gamboa should be fighting at this stage. I am happy though that he's gone down to super featherweight because he should have never been at lightweight. So that's the only thing I will say kind of positive about that. But yo, I'm with G Funky, man, El Chacal on August 14th. Like, I've been waiting to see my man Rigondeaux fight again for a while. And I think the Erickson Lubin Jason Rosario fight is a good one. Again, I just wish it wasn't on pay-per-view. Not a huge fan of the Jamal Charlo Marcias Montiel fight, but it's on regular Showtime. I think the Ubali Donare fight is a good fight. And what's the other one that I'm forgetting that I didn't think was great?
It must not be that great if you forgot about it.
I'm not that great. I'm not that big on the Benavides.
Strategy shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah, I'm not big on that one. But you know what? I guarantee you he would have fought Caleb Plant if Caleb Plant was willing to fight him. I guarantee you that.
It's like the third title eliminator for Benavides. It's like how many eliminators you have to fight and win until you get that belt.
And what do people say when they smell dumpster juice? Ooh, Scott the key. Woo!
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Milker.
Maybe I gotta drop it to an 8.5 now that I think about it, because I gotta take off a couple other points. I maybe just an 8 actually, because I gotta take off a half point for the Uzcategui fight, and I gotta take off a half point now that I'm gonna be honest about it, about the Gamboa fight. So I'll take a full point for the Davis fight being on pay-per-view, and I'm going to take a half point off.
2 points fully for Charlo Montiel. 2 points at least.
Man, the maestro is really like taking away those points, bro.
You know why I can't take off 2 for that fight, G Funky? Because at least I don't have to pay extra for it. It's part of my Showtime stuff.
Hey, 408. Talk to us, brother. Rate it 1 to 10 and why.
It's interesting that G Funky gave it a 5 and then Maestro gave it a 9 initially, because at first glance, when I look at the schedule, I got really excited about some of these cards that are going to be really fantastic, especially in May. But with close examination, the Gervonta Davis Barrio fight is a gimmick, right? It's just a gimmick fight. It's not going to do any good for the boxing community, and I wouldn't pay for it myself. It's dumpster juice, as Chief Funky would say. Colbert fighting Gamboa, fighting the leftovers of Devin Haney. This is a guy that I'm really hyped on, and he's really not doing himself a service. He should have told his managers, no, I won't fight Gamboa. Come on, I'm way too good for that. So it's kind of a step back for Colbert. That's not a good fight. Charlo Montiel, another guy who shouldn't be fighting bottom-feeding opponents like that. And the David Benavides Uzcategui, if you guys have followed the Venezuelan guy, he hasn't been good for years. So he's not challenging himself either. So I'm somewhere between a 5 and a 9. I'll go with a solid 7.
Okay. I'll give it like a 6.5. Let me say this before I go to D. Okay. When I was a kid, they would do this wonderful thing, right, where my parents would buy this thing that kids would hit with a stick. You know what I mean? To tore apart and all the candies fell down. They called it a piñata. Okay. Stop using Gamboa for that, please. Okay, can we stop doing this to Gamboa? Is he the PBC piñata now or what? What's going on over here? So I don't get it. He's clearly not the same fighter anymore. He's too small for the weight class. He's too old to box, not to box, but he's clearly not himself, right? He's an old shell of his former self. Let's stop using Gamboa as a piñata, please. Okay, please. But D, give us a rating, man. 1 to 10.
I'd give it about 7.5, man. About 7.5. The 2 fights on that card, I heard difference of opinions. The 2 fights on that card was absolute garbage to me. And when I say garbage, I mean absolute garbage. Definitely Jamal Charlo and Juan Montiel. Bro, that's ridiculously stupid, man. You listen, it's a step down from Derevarenchenko. How do you fight Derevarenchenko and then you go downhill? And you're a champion. You're supposed to be defending your title, bro. Right? So that fight to me is phooey. Right? The next fight is again Yuriokis Gamboa. and I'm not even like, it's not about Yuriorkis. It's just about what the hell are they doing, bro? Chris Colbert, I want to see him like fight the best guys at one point, the champions. Actually, like he's on the path to do that kind of stuff. What the hell is he doing fighting Yuriorkis Gamboa? So because those fights are so bad, at least in my opinion, it goes down. And then it's 2 fights that's questionable. I wouldn't say that they're actually bad because there's some intrigue and some value in them, and that's David Benavidez and Usyk and Tank Davis and Mario Barrios. Here's the thing with Tank Davis and Mario Barrios, and everybody that knows me know I've been killing that fight and everything that Floyd does with his foolishness. But there is some level of intrigue in that fight because Barrios is long. Tank's coming up 2 weight classes. It's still a challenge, guys. I mean, he is jumping 2 weight classes. He hasn't tasted or thrown a punch at 140. Regardless of the fact is that Barrios, we don't even know if his power is going to transition up 2 weight classes like that. I expect Tank to win. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to pump Barrios up here, but there is still a level of intrigue. Like, this is not Leo Santa Cruz hitting him. So it's going to be a bit different. He's going to have to work a little bit to get inside. I believe he's going to get inside and he's going to hurt Barrios, but it's not going to be as easy of a task fighting some small guy coming up from 126. So those 2 fights are questionable, but they do offer some intrigue. The rest of the fights I'm actually good with, which is why I gave it a 7. I'm cool with the rest of the fights on the card. So, you know.
I want to add something, man, since I was the guy who gave it the lowest amount, you know. Look, they have an opportunity in the later half of the year to make up for this, in my opinion, because there's a lot of names missing off of this right now. There's no Gary Russell, right? There's no Keith Thurman. There's no Ugas. And then there's no Spence, no Wilder. Like, none of these guys have anything lined up right now.
Well, you know, G-Funky, I mean, real quick. I think I just talked to somebody on my live about this yesterday. We can't really just attach Showtime to everything that the PBC is going to do because they going to do events through Fox. You know what I mean? They have other avenues. It's just not like Showtime, everything they do PBC. So some of these guys are still going to be getting off these pay-per-views and such, you know.
Well,
so I don't know. We got to see.
The thing that jumped out at me on the schedule is we got to wait until September 11th to see Stephen Fulton Jr. again. Like, why is he waiting so long? Why didn't they just get him a slot on the May 15th card? Same with Raees Aleem. Personally, I would have wanted to see Raees Aleem take on Stephen Fulton Jr. and then the winner take on the winner of Neri Figueroa or something. Like, where's Raees Aleem on this schedule? He had a big breakout performance. If you're his promoter, if you're the television network that broadcasted his fight, you should try to get him on again.
Well said, well said, well said. Hey, I'll tell you what, though. All right. So I'm going to ask you guys to give me, you already talked about all these fights, so I need to give me one name of one fight, okay? Which is the worst fight and which is the best fight? D, what's the best and the worst? The anticipation.
Well, since D's not ready, I'll go with mine.
My bad. No, I was on mute. My bad. I was talking until you said that. No, the worst fight easily is Jamal Charlo. Like, that fight is ridiculously terrible, man. And I think when we go to the best fight, it depends on what you want, right? Jamel Charlo and Castaño, I think is quite intriguing because you have this fan base that overrates Jamel, and then you have this fan base that with the same fan base, which is, you know, they underrate Castaño. I think they don't. I think they feel like Castaño is not going to be as much problem as I feel he will be. I'm a Jamel Charlo fan, but I think Castaño is going to come in. He's coming with that fire, man. I think it's going to be a much better fight than people believe. So I got that one number one.
All right. Okay. J-Funky, what's the worst fight and the best fight?
I have to agree with D. Those are my two. undisputed at 154 pounds, and it's a good fight. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Charlo at all. Castaño's going to come and he's going to bring it. He's going to try to win that fight. He's not going to lay down. And the worst by far has got to be Charlo versus Montiel. Just a terrible fight. And he's coming off of arguably his best win of his career back in September against Dervinchenko. And then they keep him out all these months, and then they bring him back for this crap. Like, this is crazy, man. And I see a lot of you guys out there trying to justify this, man. And believe me, you're going to get this work, man. Just watch. Just wait.
Hey, it's Juan Francisco Montiel. Okay? I mean, he's from Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico. Okay? Like I don't know what that means other than that's where he's from. But like, he ain't going to beat Charlo. I know that. Flaca, what is the best fight in your opinion and the worst fight in your opinion?
Well, the worst fight, definitely Charlo and Montiel. I mean, I cannot even, say a picture Montiel being competitive even for a round, And the best fight, maybe Charlo versus Castaño, but I do like a lot Neri Figueroa because I want to see how Neri gets back to the ring with his previous trainer. And, when we saw Neri with Alameda, we saw this, Neri was a little more, he was protecting himself maybe too much of what we are used to, like him pressuring and not being that concerned about getting hit. So I wanted that again, and I think Figueroa has the style to make this fight really fun.
Okay. Well said. Well said. All right, Maestro, talk to us. Worst and best.
I mean, I have to agree with the consensus here. The worst is the Jamal Charlo fight. I mean, it's just a mismatch. It's a step down. I mean, the guy's ranked number 5 in the WBC, okay? And when the guy's ranked number 5, obviously that doesn't take into consideration the champions and the top contenders in the other sanctioning bodies. So it's just not an exciting fight. I would say that, and this is the dichotomy here because it's his brother. His brother's in the best fight.
Yeah.
His brother's fighting a unified division. And I'll also have to give that the best fight because it's not on pay-per-view. And I'm looking forward to it. But the fight that I'm looking forward to the most, believe it or not, is the Rigondeaux fight. But I don't necessarily consider that one the best fight. I also do think that the Neri
you're bringing the rules, brother. You're bringing the rules, brother. But before wait, what is the best and what is the worst fight?
Consensus overall that Charlo's fighting Montiel is definitely the worst fight. I agree with that wholly, and I'm actually looking forward to the Filipino Flashes, whether or not this is going to be his last stand defending his belt, and it's a unification as well with Nordinu Bali. They've had this fight go back and forth, and finally it's going to materialize. And if it's anything like his performance against Inoue, I think that could be one of the best fights of this entire series.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. All right. Hey, Box Tunnel, talk to us. Worst fight, best fight.
I'll stir up the pot a little bit. I think the worst fight is Primetime versus Gamboa. The level of calibers that each are at, it's just not for me. I'm sorry. I think the best fight will be the Neri and Figueroa, and I think the fight with the most potential will be the unification.
All right. Well, there you go. I'm kind of like with that feeling, like ironically, the twins, right? I mean, the one twin is in the best fight, and the one twin's in the worst fight. That's how I feel about it, and I think that says a lot about Jamal, where they are, who they're fighting. I mean, you can't talk the way you're talking to Jamal and then fight this dude. Like, it's not a fight you should be accepting the way you're talking. That's all I'll say about that. Especially when you're talking about you want to knock out Benavidez, and he says, "Okay, let's do it," and you don't do the fight. Come on now. And then you don't even come back with a decent fight or a better fight. This is the shit. This is the crap you give us. This is crap. This is. It's underwhelming crap.
That dude ran his mouth so much, man. It's terrible.
Good shout on that Chris Colbert Gamboa, because it's neck and neck for me, bro. Chris Colbert Gamboa and Jamal Charlo and Juan Montiel, like it's neck and neck. Both of those fights are just disgusting to me. So yeah, I'm with you on that, bro.
You know what else makes it bad, D? Is that it's an eliminator. Colbert and Gamboa. 130. This is crazy.
Yeah, but Funky, you know what makes the other one bad? That it's a championship fight.
Yeah, that's a oh man. Like, but I don't understand how a guy like Gamboa gets in an eliminator when he's losing. I can't remember the last time this guy won a fight.
Absolutely.
Like, when's the last time Gamboa won? I don't even know.
But he's moving down in weight, G Funky.
Well, there you go. There you go. Hey, check it out. I do want to mention Neri really quick, because the last time you were here, Flacca, what did I tell you? I told you, Neri. I mean, he's not being focused. He's out partying. You know what I mean? He's on Instagram, posting videos on the club. But Flacca was here like, no, Neri, he's the best and he's focused. So what happened?
No. I know Neri's a great fighter, but he lacks discipline. I told you. Actually, he was down here in Monterey 2 weeks ago. I asked him, what the fuck are you doing here if you are going to fight? And he told me, well, just relaxing after the war. So.
Hey, you did he tell him like that? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, maybe not the fuck. It was what are you doing here? I wanted him to answer me, so I had to be a little more polite and nice. But
relaxing after the war.
I think that he is that kind of fighter that he has his style, and you cannot change it. And that's what I mean. Reynoso is a trainer, but he wants to turn maybe him to style, Canelo style. And that's what I thought that happened, for example, with Probotnikov. He's a beast and he doesn't know even how to throw punches, but he wins because he has cojones. But then he goes with Freddie Roach and they want him doing the rolling and moving, the head and all that. It doesn't work because there are boxers and there are warriors. So let warriors be warriors. And I think Neri is in the in-between. But he was maybe turning a little bit too much in that beautiful boxing style, but maybe not as effective when he was for his, hunting. So I'm really excited to see him back. I don't hate him, but I mean, I don't have the love and all the admiration you have for him, Eric.
And Neri, what the fuck are you doing, dude? I said it for him, okay? What are you doing? Why? It was actually you that said he was out partying, not me. But because I remember you said he was partying at 3 a.m, posting it on Instagram, then deleting it at 9 a.m, right? Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. And now, because I want to use Neri to segue to the next topic here, which is Andy Ruiz claiming that he's more motivated than ever. Now, usually I would roll my eyes, okay? Like I know a lot of you in the chat are doing right now, okay? But hear me out. I actually do believe him. And I haven't really taken this position. But some footage I've seen, like organic footage. I'm not talking the ones where they turn on the camera and he's jumping rope or something. Like I'm talking about stuff that he didn't film or his team, right? And there's Canelo like hitting the mitts with Andy's son, and what I'm noticing that Andy is there in the gym, like that's where he is. Like he's hanging out with Canelo, he's hanging out with the Ryan Garcias, he's training with them, and I think just like in life, like you want to hang out with people that will rub off on you in a positive way, and I think this could be it for Andy. I think at least for this fight, I do believe him. I don't believe he's cropping the pictures or manipulating them like he did for the last time. I actually do believe him. I don't know if I'm just sold. I don't know if and the reason I'm saying this, Neri isn't with Reynoso anymore. Neri's gone. He's not there anymore. So what that tells me is that I don't think Reynoso wants you around if you're not going to take it serious. So that's my take on it. Maestro, talk to us. Andy Ruiz, he said the following: more motivated than ever, and he understands he let a lot of people down, and he's ready for his redemption. Do you believe him?
I believe him, but I just don't think that this fight is the fight that's going to get him his redemption. I mean, he's fighting a 40-plus-year-old Chris Arreola, who the last time he was like competitive at the world championship level was when he fought Vitaly Klitschko. That's a long time ago, dog. So I agree that he's motivated. I'd agree that he's seeking redemption, but he's not going to get redemption from this fight. He's going to have to take on somebody else to get redemption.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Hey, Box Tunnel, give us your thoughts on this Andy Ruiz claiming he's more motivated than ever. Also, tell everybody where they could find you before you got to get going.
Yeah, so you can follow at Box Tunnel on Twitter, Instagram, any podcast, Spotify, Apple. But I don't want to hold you guys up. But regarding Andy Ruiz, when I hear those words, it's devastating that this is the most motivated that he's ever been, because he already had the bag, he had the gold, he had everything. And I wish that second fight would have been the most that he's ever been motivated. But I agree. I bet he is motivated. I would be too, man. After that type of, you know what comes with losing, right? The victor gets all the spoils. So he got to see both sides. Like, how do people treat me when I win, and how do I lose? And maybe he just didn't like the feeling. I agree with Maestro, because I don't think he's ever going to redeem him personally within himself. If he's honest, it's not going to be a redemption till he's back on the top, because I think he knows. You can hear it in his vernacular, the things that he says. I think he knows he fumbled. And he came to terms with that already. But he's not going to have that redemption until he's back on top, whoever that fight is. And I agree with Maestro. He couldn't have said it better. I don't think a 41-year-old nightmare is gonna give you that satisfaction or that gratification. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, man, I agree.
I hear you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man, we definitely want to thank you for coming through, man, and hope to have you on in the future, man. Have a good one, brother.
Yes, thank you, man. God bless you guys. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you for having me on. Remember, at Box Tunnel, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere you want. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on, man. It's an absolute pleasure.
Sounds good. All right, peace out, brother. All right. Everybody subscribe to him. Check him out. All that good stuff. Chief Funky, do you believe in Andy Ruiz?
I do, 100%. You can see his body looks different. You can see, I seen today, they just had the open workout for the media, and he looks fast. He looks light on his feet, much lighter on his feet than I've ever seen him. So I do believe in, of course he's going to go in there. He's going to beat Chris Arreola. Arreola's past it. This is a tune-up for him, and he's going to get a big fight as soon as he gets past Arreola. Credit to Arreola. He's a tough guy, had a good career, but he's getting ready to get smoked in this fight. And I want to say this, man. Ruiz has an opportunity still, man. If he can get another chance at AJ, and believe me, AJ owes him another fight. All right, he got knocked out in the first fight. You came back, you beat him in the second. Let's get that rubber match. All right, and if you beat Fury, you got all those belts. Guess what? Ruiz gonna beat him again, man. I think of a trained and in shape Ruiz beats Anthony Joshua easy. Calling it right now. I don't give a damn what anybody says. All right.
Yeah, well, you're right. He won the rematch by decision, boxing safe, boxing cautiously, pulling the Klitschko punch, clinch technique. So yeah, but you know what? Whether he gets it with him
hold that thought, man. Just hold that. Let's go around, and you'll get to speak again. But let's go around here. D. Jefferson, give us your thoughts on Andy Ruiz, man. Do you believe in Andy Ruiz?
I do, and I tell you this: a lot of that belief comes because I believe in Reynoso. I think he would have kicked Fat Boy to the curb if he didn't stay disciplined and stay away from the donuts and the Takis. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, I believe in him, bro. I mean, then look at the inspiration he has around him. Like he has that champion, that Canelo. Like it's not like I'm saying he's sucking up to Canelo, but you want a guy like that to be proud of your work, bro, proud of your hard work. That's a guy that's on your team. That's a guy that probably these champions look up to. Like I'm trying to do big things like Canelo. And again, Reynoso, the discipline. I think he alluded to that going into this partnership with Andy Ruiz. If the disciplines are not there, it's not going to work. So I believe there was an understanding that, if I catch donuts and Takis in your locker, it's over with, Fat Boy. You know what I mean? So I think he's doing the right thing, fam.
Okay. All right. Flaca, what about you? Do you believe in Andy Ruiz, or is he going to go back to same old, same old?
Well, I believe in Reynoso, like this says. So I do think he's training and motivated. You have Canelo there. You have a great stable helping you out. But like Maestro said, you're fighting Arreola. That's not your redemption fight. And I don't think he's like one fight or two fights away to get to the top again, meaning that Joshua will fight him again, especially with all that movements in the heavyweight division and all the problems getting the fights done. We have been waiting from Joshua and Fury for a year or more. Then the city where they're gonna have the fight, and then they move. So I think that Andy lost a big opportunity, and he fought the way he fought Anthony Joshua the last time. Not nothing, but the way he lost. He didn't train. He looked awful, and maybe this is a start for him to getting better, but I'm not sure if he's going to be on the top again.
Okay. All right. Hey, far away, talk to us. Do you believe in Andy Ruiz?
He does look much, much healthier. He does look inspired again. But at the same time, at the same token, to me, Arreola reminds me of if you've ever had an addict or an alcoholic in your family, and he comes around and he tells you, I've been clean for 8 weeks, and they want praise for that. And how can you give someone who has a repeated history and pattern of letting you down that you want us to praise you because you've been clean for 8 weeks? And I'm not calling him a drug addict, but at the same time, there's not going to be a moral victory for him beating up on Arreola. The majority of the fans at that fight will be rooting for Arreola, a local favorite at the former StubHub Center, right? If anything, the moral victory will be if Arreola goes the distance and gives everyone an entertaining fight and doesn't take too much punishment. So I'm looking forward to what happens after this fight. Does he maintain the discipline? Does he keep the weight down? Does he stay in shape? He had achieved something that no other Mexican fighter has ever achieved, the heavyweight title, and he let it go. So he's tasted the very best, and now he's on a long road, a long recovery ahead, and I'm more interested in what happens after this fight. If he does make it all the way back to the top, I'll be rooting for him then.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many fights does he need to be consistent in for everyone to be on board, right? Because I don't know if one fight's enough, so I do agree with that. Go ahead, Maestro. You wanted to add some points.
No, I was just going to say that he's obviously going to not be fighting for the titles if he ends up facing Joshua again, because Joshua's about to lose to Tyson Fury. And if you don't believe me, D-Style, listen to Julio Cesar Chavez, man. He said it. Tyson Fury's winning that fight. So, if he does get his redemption against Joshua, unfortunately, it won't be for the heavyweight championship of the world. It's going to be, for a shot to face the Gypsy King. And there's only one Tyson Fury.
I don't understand why D-Style don't get that, Maestro. Tyson Fury.
Yeah, there's only one Tyson Fury. Snorting a line, drinking a pint, overweight all the time. Hey, it's only one. But either way, okay.
Casa.
You know, but speaking of Tyson Fury, all right. Hey, Chief Funky, talk to us here. Tyson Fury came out, and you know, I know you've been going like Chief Funky. Let me just tell everybody right now. Anybody listening. Chief Funky's been going to bat, you know, for Billy Joe Saunders, okay? To bat, like telling everybody that Billy Joe, oh guys, let me tell you something about Billy Joe. He's said everything except Billy Joe's gonna win. I don't know who he has winning. Now the question is not who you have winning, but it's Fury came out and he said the following. Canelo has never faced anyone like Billy Joe Saunders. Now, in the ring, of course, because of course he hasn't faced an asshole like Billy Joe Saunders before. You know, he's never faced anybody that paid somebody to hit a homeless man or do a video on how to hit your wife and stuff like that. So I don't think Canelo's ever faced somebody like that. But I think what Fury's talking about is in the ring, the style matchup, someone that's going to bring something that Canelo's never seen before in the ring. Do you agree with that, Chief Funky?
Absolutely not. I'm sorry. No, he's been in there with guys that can move around. He's been in there with guys that are southpaw. Again, I always have to refer back to the Erislandy Lara back in 2014. To me, that was the best pure boxer outside of Mayweather that he's fought. And you know, Billy Joe can present some issues. You know, I do strongly believe that. And because I haven't seen Canelo in with a guy who can move this well since Erislandy Lara, so I'm not just going to assume that he can, you know, look better against a guy that can move until I actually see it. That's all I'm really saying. Now, I know these Canelo fans, they get triggered very easily, but you know what? G-Funky doesn't give a damn, all right? I'm going to tell you how I feel about the fight. I look at both strengths and weaknesses from both fighters. We all know Canelo has an issue with guys that move around the ring, and until he can prove that he can stop a guy from moving like that, then I'm going to continue to say it. I don't care whose feelings get hurt, all right? So I do think Billy Joe is going to give him some trouble, but I don't agree with Fury saying that he's never faced anyone like that. Now, I disagree with that 100%.
Take that back, Chief Funky. Take it back. My feelings were hurt, all right? How dare you say that?
Hey, man, HCP don't care about feelings. We care about facts around here, all right?
All right. Hey, Flacca, what do you make about Tyson Fury saying that Canelo's never seen anybody like Billy Joe Saunders?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, promotion, I don't know. I'm not interested in this fight because I don't know. I think it's gonna end up being a boring fight. You know, Billy walk in the ring and Canelo trying to chase him, and maybe I don't know. I'm not just that hype about it. I think that it's gonna be like a late knockout or something that Saunders is not gonna be able to keep up with the power, and that's it. But I expect kind of a boring fight in the first rounds.
Okay. So Billy Joe just trying to box, move around, you know, that's what you foresee. Do you think Billy Joe, if he has the right game plan, can pull off a victory against, like, you don't see him winning in any way? Like Billy Joe, that is?
Well, you know, he gave an interview like 2 days ago, and he was already making, you know, giving his thoughts about problems with Eddie Hearn and the promotion, that he asked for an English judge, and they put there like an American judge and a Mexican, and he was already like saying that all the A side was clearly marked, and that there was a lot of corruption there, and blah blah blah. So that makes me think he's focusing more on speaking out loud and being Billy Joe Saunders than training hard and maybe developing a strategy on the ring. But you know, it's boxing; anything can happen. But I don't think we're gonna see him winning.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, Maestro, talk to us. Has he ever seen anybody like this, or is this just Fury, talking up his little bro here?
Bueno, nunca dijo que nunca, luchó contra este tipo de boxeador. Dijo que nunca luchó contra un gitano. Gitano. That's what he said. That's the direct quote. He said he never fought against a gypsy. He never said that he never fought against that type of fighter, specific to gypsy. But what I will say that I kind of disagree with La Flaca, which I rarely ever do, that was actually his dad that was complaining. It wasn't Billy Joe Saunders. Yeah, it was Billy Joe Saunders' father that was doing the complaining. Everything I've seen from Billy Joe so far has been him just looking in tremendous shape and looking ready for this fight. Like, I'm very excited about this fight. I'm happy about this fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. And he's going to provide a stylistic matchup that is going to be much more challenging than the Caleb Plant fight. If he gets through this fight, especially if he knocks out Billy Joe, Caleb Plant is going to be a cakewalk. I'm sorry. It's going to be a cakewalk. So he's slick. He's a southpaw. He's a gypsy. He comes from that background. And, it's going to be what it is. But that was Tyson Fury's quote. He's never fought against a gypsy.
408. Dime, ¿cómo ves esta pelea?
You know what? Part of that too is, and you can't blame Tyson Fury, is the fact that they're both Irish travelers, and it's a throwback to their heritage that he's never fought an Irish traveler. And Tyson Fury being the world champion, he's going to be proud, just like Mexicanos are proud of our heritage, right? So he's bringing that to the table. But Lance Pugmire, the author Lance Pugmire for The Athletic, wrote this article like 3 months ago. Will Canelo Alvarez bring out the very best in BJ Saunders? BJ Saunders is that guy who's always been inconsistent as well. You don't know what version you're going to get. But from what I've seen, he looks like this is the fight of his life. He looks in tremendous shape. Disagree with him wholly that Canelo's never faced a southpaw that's slick like him. Despite BJ Saunders having more pop than Lara, I don't see how that's going to benefit him much against this version of Canelo Alvarez. It's not the same Canelo that fought Erislandy Lara years back. So I know we're not doing predictions now, but I don't think the very best of the Irish traveler BJ Saunders is going to beat Canelo Alvarez today.
All right. So in fair, let me just say this before I go to D. So, okay, he said he hasn't fought like an Irish traveler. That's what he said. But what is he insinuating? He's never seen anybody like that. Like that's going to give Canelo all these problems just because he's a gypsy. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't going to matter when you get punched in the face, bro. All right? Ain't going to matter. But D, what do you make, man? Is Fury capping hard for his boy? Or does he really believe that Billy Joe could win?
Nah, bro, it's all cap, man. It's all cap. I mean, he got to support his guy. I don't see nothing wrong with it. He got to support his guy, but it's Cap City, man. I think, like you said, the best Billy Joe Saunders is not gonna be Canelo, man. I mean, I know Canelo have issues with movement and all this, that, and the third, but I mean, let's keep it real, man. Billy Joe Saunders, he's not that guy. It's going to be a guy that's going to beat Canelo. Saunders ain't it, bro. Maybe Dimitri Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, guys like that, but Saunders not it. He's not it. He's not that guy that's going to beat Canelo. So
he's just not that guy. Okay, Saul Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders. I do got to say, though, while, of course, spoiler alert, I mean, I am picking Canelo to win, but I do think it's going to be a tough fight, though. Like, because I don't think Billy Joe is going to cooperate with Canelo, right? And yes, I do believe it's going to be boring, right? Because he's going to be playing catch up, but maybe G-Funk is going to score the rounds for Billy Joe just because Canelo isn't, quote unquote, catching up to him while Saunders is running away. Like maybe G-Funky will be scoring it for Billy Joe, but I think it's going to be difficult and maybe a hard fight to watch. But I still think, he's going to give Canelo a hell of a workout, while Wile E. Coyote's going after the Roadrunner, I think. So, can he stay away or not? I don't know, right? But that's what I think is going to happen. He's going to be running away, just saying. Hey, Amilcar.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Amilcar. So do you think Billy Joe, it's just by definition, because he's a traveler, is going to give Canelo a tough fight?
No. I was just clarifying the quote. I don't think it's because he's a traveler. I think it's because he fought internationally as an amateur, as a teenager. He fought in the Olympics as a teenager. He is a boxer, man, purebred. And he is going to give Canelo problems. It's up in the air in terms of how much problems or many problems he's going to give him, but he's going to give him problems. It's not easy. I don't care who you are to fight a southpaw that's slick, that has that kind of footwork and movement. And let's face facts. He also has a pretty good chin. This is something that people have not discussed a lot, but he's got a great chin. And he's faced off against multiple power punchers and done very well against them. We're talking obviously Lemieux, Billy Joe, Chris Eubank Jr., and obviously Andy Lee. All of those guys can fucking punch. And, it's not going to be an easy fight. And here's the thing. If you're a Canelo fan, don't downgrade Billy Joe Saunders. Because if he beats him, you want him to get full credit for it.
No, that's not going to happen. Look what they're doing in the chat. I already got them riled up, man. G-Funk's rent-free right now.
Hey,
right?
hey, guys, it is. We have reached the 12th and final round. Woo! That means it's time for final thoughts. All right. We will continue discussion at Amilcar's channel. That's Maestro A. Anyone who wants to join can go there, including you guys in the chat or whatnot. Maestro will be putting the link in the chat for you guys to go there if you want to go ahead and take part in the Roundtable Overtime. This has been the 20th edition. I want to thank everyone who came through. Maestro, it's a talk to final round. So touch gloves and tell us anything you want to say before we wrap it up.
Well, big shout out to D-Style, obviously. Big up for, making the connection. It wouldn't be, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't know G-Funky, Dave from the 408, La Flaca, or D. So big up to D-Style. His Roundtable is a really great thing. I think it's great for boxing. I'm very happy to be part of it. And yeah, we're going to be going overtime because I want to discuss why the hell Ramirez and Taylor is not being promoted. I went at Oscar earlier. Bob Arum is doing worse than Oscar right now. And I want to talk about that and a couple other things and take calls.
Okay. All right. Well said. 408 is the 12th final round, man. Touch gloves and give us some final thoughts.
Hey, thank you as always, D-Styles, for having me. Last Saturday, maybe a lot of purist fans were really disappointed after the Boo Boo Andrade fight again. And then I wasn't looking forward to everybody talking about that Trilla event, right? But something really great happened on Saturday. And we talked about Tyson Fury and we talked about Andy Ruiz. Tyson Fury, Andy Ruiz, and Fernando Ferros Vargas got together and raised money to get cars donated in the city of Las Vegas to needing families. They drew a big crowd and they gave away cars to homeless families that really needed, either down and out people. That was the greatest moment in boxing on Saturday, to see those three stars come together and help people in the community in the city of Las Vegas. This weekend, I think boxing is going to redeem itself. I'm looking forward to the star-studded Puerto Rican prospects and future contenders. We don't forget we have Berlanga fighting. We have Xander Zayas is going to be making his return again, and the Adorno brothers. My friend Jay Chaudhry actually made a movie with Raging Babe about the Adorno brothers. Don't sleep on them. Look for that documentary out on YouTube about the Adorno brothers. I think we're gonna have a great show, and then Navarrete to top it off. I'm looking forward to Saturday, man. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. D from Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. The 12th final round. Touch gloves. Give us, your final thoughts.
Hey, great show, man. Appreciate you having me on. Jamal Charlo, go smack yourself. And that's all I wanted to say about that, man. I'm tired of this whole Jamal Charlo. Shout out to Jamal Charlo because he leading the way over there at the PBC. He's showing all of these guys how to do it. Wilder, Spence, all of them. Spence is my guy too, but Jamal leading the way. Get ready to lock it down. Potentially 4-belt undisputed. I'm not just gonna say he's gonna be 4-belt. Potentially 4-belt undisputed. He's expected to beat Brian Castano. And DStyle, I just want to tell you this, man. There's only one Tyson Fury. And don't forget it, man. He's going to beat Anthony Joshua like a ceremonial drum. Everybody, I see y'all over there on Maestro.
All right, there you go. There you go. Hey, Chief Funky, man. Throughout the final round, touch gloves, man. Give us some final thoughts.
Well, I'll go ahead and touch gloves with La Flaca because she's the real fighter here. But I want to say this, it's always good to be here on the round table. It's always good to get different perspectives on topics. But I want to say this. I want to try to get through this without being emotional, man. And I'm not being funny. I'm being serious here. If you guys can, donate to the brother Gonzalo and his family, if you can. Because it is a tough situation. Believe me, I know I've been through something very similar with my daughter when she was born. And it is not easy, especially when thank God we had insurance. We didn't have to pay no money like this guy has to pay. He's over there in the Philippines. So please, if you can, donate to the brother. It would help out tremendously. And let's just hope and pray that the little guy continues to fight and comes through, man. That's really all I got to say. G-Funk, I'll see you guys on the next one.
The link is in the pinned comment in the chat. By the way, guys, every dollar counts. You know what I mean? Shout out to Duval Grind, Shoe Shine, all you guys. Flaca, talk to us. Give us some final thoughts. You there, Flaca? Oh, you muted, Flaca.
I was like, I'm so happy. I'm back on the show. I'm sorry that I was the first one to break rules, interrupting everyone. But it's talking, and I just want to talk about it and whatever. So on Saturday, yes, I'm so hyped about Navarrete and Diaz and all the Puerto Rican prospects. And I want you guys to check out El Zurdo de Oro, because I do think he's like a very good fighter. He's now changing his nickname to Cap or something. But Orlando Gonzalez, that's a guy I like a lot. And today we have box on ESPN. Henovic, the world champion female, is going to fight Cruz, and then we have Pibi Romero, who was an champion of Mexico. So it's gonna be a fun night. And invite me again, Eric. I know I break the rules, but I'm just
it's not against the rules to interrupt. I'm just telling people protect your time. That's all.
I'm sorry, and I was like reading on the chat, Flaca's breaking the rules. Why don't you tell it?
That was the kind of prophet. Don't worry about what he says. So
my apologies, my deep apologies, and I won't do it again.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good, man. This was a great show. I want to thank everybody. Go to Milcar's channel. Anyone who's interested, for rounds 13 to 15, the championship rounds over there, for the, all that good stuff. You guys go over there. This is DStyleBoxing. Keep it boxing, and we're out of here, guys. Peace out.
Bye-bye. Adios.
Peace.
You are tuning in to the RoundTable, live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific.